Hello, my sparkly friends. Amber and I are here today at home. I know that sometimes going to yoga class once or twice a week is wonderful, but it doesn't always help us accomplish everything we're trying to accomplish with yoga. Whether you have goals of flexibility or it's just a matter of making sure you're feeling good and keeping that body in alignment on a regular basis. So I'm here at home today and we're going to do a quick little practice that is focused on hip opening. And it's something that you can obviously do in your living room or, in your basement. Not everybody has a yoga studio they can go to every single day. So being at home and showing you these practices is really important to me. So let's just start in a nice, easy seated. I'm going to stay facing the camera for this. You can go long ways down your mat, whatever feels the most comfortable for you. And you're just going to start nice and gentle in your easy seated pose. You can close your eyes if you want to. If you do any intention setting, now is your time to set your intention. Be present in this short practice. A few nice deep breaths in and out. One more breath. Good. If your eyes are closed, gently open those eyes. We're going to head over onto tabletop, hands and knees. And we're just going to go through a few cat-cows, loosening up, dropping the belly down with a nice deep breath in. Big exhale as you round through the back, loosening up through the spine and the pelvis. Keeping weight nice in your hands, pressing all parts of your hands into the ground, fingertips. Moving nice and slow with your flow of breath. And gently bringing yourself back to a neutral tabletop position. Tucking your toes under, we're going to shoot those hips back and up into a nice down dog. Give yourself a little walk here through the legs. And bring yourself to stillness in your down dog. Bring your left leg up to the sky for three-legged dog. And swing it through to a lunge. Finding your balance. If you need to keep your hands down to find your balance, that's totally fine. You can also bring your hands up to prayer. Really finding square hips and then pushing those hips down into the ground, opening up through your hip flexor, the back of your hamstring. And releasing your hands to the ground. If they were up in prayer, we're going to drop that back knee down to the ground for a nice low lunge. If you want to, you could bring the hands to the knee or hands to prayer. This is just going to deepen that stretch through here, allowing you to find a little more balance in that back leg, pushing into the ground through those hips. Remember, a stretch shouldn't be painful. Difference between pain and stretch, right? Stretch should feel like there's tension and you're trying to release it. Pain, you stop, you release that a little bit, you bring it back, okay? Releasing that low lunge, we're going to bring our elbows down to the ground. If we can't quite reach down, go down as much as you can, bending a little bit. Maybe you have a pillow handy or a block. You can rest yourself on your block. And just a nice few deep breaths here. Bringing our palms back to the ground to help us ease up. We're going to reverse that lunge. Bending into the back leg, stretching out your front leg. Feeling the hamstrings release. It's all connected through the pelvis down the hamstrings. So saying hip opener isn't enough just to say, We're going to sit in bound eagle pose and open up those hips. It's making sure all those muscles are open and ready to move and take you throughout your day. And releasing that reverse lunge, bringing yourself back to tabletop. And we're going to repeat the whole thing again, this time on our other leg. So tucking those toes under, shooting your hips up to down dog. If you want to, you can give yourself a little walk here. Bring yourself to stillness. This time bringing your right leg up into the air for three-legged dog. And swinging it through to your high lunge. Again, keeping those hands on the floor till you find your balance. If you have to keep them on the floor for the whole stretch, that's okay. Otherwise, you can bring that chest up, hands to prayer. And bringing those hands down to the ground. We're going to drop our knee down, low lunge. Again, keeping the hands on the ground, they can come up to your knee or they can come to prayer. We want to make sure that knee is not breaking the alignment with the heel. So we want it to be a nice straight line. We don't want our knee to pass our toe, okay? So take a second to check in, make sure you've got that nice straight line. Finding your breath. Just because it's a short practice doesn't mean we don't breathe through it. Releasing the hands if they were in prayer. We're going to bring those elbows down to the ground. Again, if you needed to use a block or a pillow or whatever you have handy at home, you can use those as well. We want to make sure our knee's not splaying out to the side either. So we want to keep that hip in alignment, right? Lots of alignment in our hip opening sequence. And using our hands to walk us back up. We're going to bend into the back leg, extend our front leg, reversing that lunge. Well, hello, Miss Ember. Ember loves her new blankie. And releasing that reverse lunge, bringing yourself back to your tabletop. Giving yourself a second to recover here. If you feel you need to twist through those hips a little bit, loosen up through the torso, through the pelvis, take a second. We're going to stand ourselves up, all the way up to mountain. Just taking a few deep breaths here in mountain. Stepping your right foot back and sinking into that left foot. We're going to bring ourselves up into a nice warrior two. Getting a nice bend into that front leg, opening through the hips. Nice strong shoulders, shooting the energy out through the fingertips. Either keep it in your face straight ahead or looking down that front hand, your left hand. Few seconds in this nice strong warrior two. We're going to fan our arms up and over into reverse warrior. Feeling that openness to the front, side, body as you reverse that warrior. Bringing yourself back up to a nice warrior two. Love me a warrior two. You're going to extend your front leg, hinge forward from your hips into triangle pose. Again, if you feel like it's too hard to get to the floor, you can rest your head on your shin, or if you have a block or a book or anything to ease support, support is always welcome in all walks of life, right? A little bit of support. One more deep breath here. And using all those core muscles to bring us back up, hinging back up. We're going to turn both feet to face forward. We're going to head into our goddess pose. You can keep your hands at prayer, or I like W. I call it W. So you can bring your hands to W. Nice strong goddess. Nice straight lines through the arms. Sinking those hips down. Few deep breaths in goddess. And release. We're going to take a second now to step our feet back together into mountain. We're going to do the exact same sequence again, just with the other foot. So I'm going to turn myself this way. It might feel a little backwards, but I want to make sure that I'm not turning my back. I feel like it's such a negative feeling when someone just puts their back to you. So we're going to stand in mountain, facing long way on your mat. From there, you're going to have your right leg in front, stepping your left leg back, sinking into a nice strong warrior two. Again, keeping your face forward or looking down your hand. Now the cool thing about this sequence is I really don't have a big house at all. And I'm able to do this whole thing in my tiny little living room. I just moved the coffee table out of the way. And I'm able to go through this whole entire sequence, which is wonderful. You can stop your day, do it on commercial break, pause a Netflix show, and off you go with your yoga for the day. So we're going to fan those arms over and back into reverse warrior. Finding openness. If our hips aren't that open, if our torso doesn't feel that open, bring your hand up to your hip. You can support yourself there, on your thigh, or all the way over. And bringing yourself back up into a nice warrior two. Stand back up a teeny bit here. To a nice warrior two. We're going to extend the front leg, hinge forward from the hips, into triangle. Again, relying on the supports if we have any, if we need any, supporting ourselves. A few nice deep breaths in triangle. Using those core muscles like we did to hinge forward and come down, we're going to hinge ourselves back up. Whew. Turn our toes so they're both facing the same direction on the mat, slightly turned out a little bit. We're going to sink into our hips for goddess. Nice deep breaths through goddess. My mom takes yoga with me. Mom, if you're doing this video, I know goddess feels like chair, but it's a good one. Do it. Goddess is good for you. She always tells me, don't put chair and goddess in the same sequence. And releasing your goddess, bringing yourself down onto the floor. So you're going to go from the floor, you're going to go long ways down your mat so you have room to put your feet out to the side. We're going to do some seated straddles. So I'm just going to twist my mat. Give me 2 seconds just so that we have a little bit of a better view for this one. There we go. So bringing those feet out, you're going to just reach your elbow down either to the ground or to your leg. You're going to bring your left elbow down, reaching your right arm over. If you could try to reach for those toes, finding openness through here. You'll feel it kind of at the top of the hip bone, all the way up through your core. If you're mirroring me and I say right or left, just follow the mirror image. If you're following right or left, just following my voice, that's cool too. And bring it up and over to the other side. All right, good. Feeling that stretch the side body, it loosens up in our pelvis very, very nicely. Bringing yourself back up and over. We're going to reach down to the center. If this is one you do on a regular basis, just think of your markers, right? Maybe you start, how far can I walk out? 1, 2, 3, 4. Maybe it's 4 steps. As you go further, you just want to try to, maybe next time it's 5, 6, 7, and then you can gauge your flexibility if you're working if flexibility is one of your goals. Or if you're feeling lots of tension building up in your hip pelvis area, you'll know what days you're more tense based on how far you can walk those hands out, right? We measure our snowfall, we measure our rainfall, we might as well measure our flexibility a little bit if we can. Walk yourself back up, bringing your leg in and your other leg in so the soles of your feet meet for bound angle, giving yourself a little bit of a wiggle here. Just to reset those hips, bringing yourself to stillness. You fold forward from the hips down to those feet, opening through the hips, not forcing anything down, but finding that openness. A few breaths here. Bound angle and reclined bound angle. Reclined bound angle are two of my favorites. Walking yourself up. Now, if you feel like you need a cushion, a pillow, a block, anything for this next one, I'm just going to grab a meditation cushion over here. So sometimes you just need a little bit of support under your knees. You can do that. If you need on both sides, you can. Otherwise, if you're feeling like you've got the flexibility that you need for that, that's fine too. We're just going to cross one leg over top of the other, okay? From there, we're going to bring our body again, folding down. You'll likely feel this in through the hips and through the glutes, depending on where the stiffness lays the most. I find that this one, when I do this stretch, it really opens up through my lower back. I get a lot of tension in my low back as it connects kind of to like my tailbone area. I get lots and lots, probably too many years of dancing and gymnastics, but this one just eases everything up, makes me feel open and free and very, very much less pain and tension in that area. So we'll hold this one just a few more breaths. And walking your hands back up. We're going to switch the legs over. If you've been using any props, just make sure you're applying them properly under those knees for support. Crossing the legs over. And folding forward down. Sometimes you'll feel more tension on one side than the other. I know when my left leg is up, I feel more tension there versus my right. So I like to pay special attention. If one side feels more tense than the other, feel free to pause my video and hold it a little bit longer if you feel like you need to. Or if there's a stretch that really resonated with you, you can always do it again after, once we finish through Savasana. Can't speak today, apparently. Once we finish through Shavasana, then you can always go back and repeat any of those stretches that felt like they could have a little more attention in your body. And walking yourself back up, turning long ways down your mat now. We're just going to bring those knees up for windshield washer knees. So we've opened the legs this way. Now we want to make sure we pay special attention to open our knees inward. So I guess the feeling of closing them in. And it just loosens up that hip joint in a different way. All of those muscles, if you took a pause, you would feel a stretch through the sides of your legs, through your glutes, but it would be a different kind of a stretch, and you can feel the difference. I know when I do this with lots of dancers, they feel this a lot. They spend a lot of time with their feet turned out. So those glute muscles, everything that goes through your turnout, all of my dancers out there, all of your turnout muscles, they're always doing that outward motion. So when you pull them the other way, it actually gives them an enhanced stretch here. So nice and slow, knees side to side. I hear a little creak in my floor. Gotta get that one fixed. Maybe it's just creaks through my body. Who knows? Good. Bringing your legs to stillness. And we're going to do a quick forward fold. So just legs out in front of us. So like I said, there's parts of our body when we're talking about hip opening. It's not just in our hip area, right? There's so much connects. If you've ever looked at the skeleton, the muscles, everything kind of intertwines through our body, so it's not a quick spot fix, right? So just to open up those hamstrings, we're going to sit up nice and tall, hinging forward from our hips, reaching out to our toes, holding it there. If you feel like you can release further, just release on an exhale. So as you exhale, you bring that fold a little further. And a few deep breaths here. Walking your hands right back up. We're going to bring ourselves down onto the ground now. Bringing our soles of our feet to the ground as we lay down. And we're going to drop our knees open, reclined bound angle. So soles of our feet come right together as we drop those knees down to the side. We're just going to rest here for a couple of seconds. By that, I mean probably 20 or so. This is a nice, good one. This one I like to do any time of day, but if I do it before bed, I feel like I can just lay there and then just straighten my legs and fall right to sleep. It's very relaxing. It really eases any tension through the pelvis, hip area. And if you need to use your hands to bring your legs together, you can do that, or just gently bring those legs together. Bringing your knees tucked into your chest, a little rock side to side. We're going to extend our legs right up to the ceiling, and we're just going to ride a bicycle. Just a little bit of gentle, fluid motion. If you put your hands on your hips, you can feel some work happening in there. Just kind of lubricating that joint before we settle ourselves down into Shavasana. Good. So we're just going to bring our knees in and settle ourselves down now in for Shavasana. Begin to wake your body up, wiggle those fingers and toes. If you would like a longer Shavasana, feel free to just hit the pause button on this video and stay in your meditative Shavasana state for a little bit longer. Otherwise, let's bring ourselves back up to an easy seated together. Thank you so much for coming and opening your hips really quickly with me today. Hopefully some of these short little videos will help you accomplish and reach and surpass all of your yogi goals together. If you have any requests, if there's certain things you would like me to make a video for, maybe it's core, maybe it's hips, maybe it's I want flexibility, maybe you want some relax and restore type videos, just type it in the comments, send me a message, any of those kinds of things. I will try my very hardest to get all of your goals met with some of these videos. Thank you so much. I hope you have a wonderful day. Let's bring our hands to our heart as we bow our heads. Namaste.